So, back to the feasibility study.
Yes, ma'am.
Will this data be used for the decision moving forward? And I say that because one of the sources here is no longer at this table. And I would prefer that we go with current, accurate data than to use past skewed data possible.
So this was the very first project that I got when I came to Duncanville. And I like to believe that I'm a person of integrity and that I wouldn't give you information or stand by information that I didn't think was valid, was worthwhile. And so this study, and I have continued to work with Hunden. In fact, Matt and I talked today. He's probably watching. Hey, Matt. He wanted to know where we were, and our relationship has not ended, right? So, and this information, again, earlier in 2025, but it is definitely still valid, still current. There are a number of things that we could do and evolve. We won't be able to predict the future, but I believe that we're in a good place with regard to the scope of services and how we're going to define what success would look like.
And this is not the same document that we received the report on, the first Hunden report, because this one, if you notice, and you pointed it out to me today, there was some additional information provided in this report for our benefit in November of 25. So it's not the same report that you may have reviewed from the first meeting.
From the spring.
It's been updated.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'll just add one more comment if I can, Mayor, so just so that everyone's clear on the process. Like we said, once we have the go-ahead, it will take some time to release the RFP. We've already worked to create kind of the criteria. You'll see that inside of with the scope of services. That's what you all are going to review, how we're scoring. It's very transparent, as Mayor is saying. Everyone is asked the same questions, asked to provide the same amount of information. So we'll share that with the selection committee, if you will. It'll probably be a combination of folks. So I just want to make sure that you all are confident in our approach going forward. And thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Okay, since we've run over, we're going to go ahead and move the executive session A to at the end of the meeting. So we will not be having that. There was no action to be taken as a result of this executive session on item B. And with that, we'll go ahead and move on into our regular session. It's a short day. All right.
Yeah, I mean we didn't cover that, but I was thinking a week or 2 weeks, we can down to 31st. Okay, then I'm good with Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay, good evening. We're going to begin our regular session for today at 7:22 p.m. And first order is to perform our invocation. Pastor Larry Sadberry from Family Christian Church, I understand, is here. Yes, sir. Please stand and join us.
Let us bow our heads and invite our Lord and Savior. Gracious God, our Father, we just thank you for this meeting, and we thank you, Father, for the agenda that you have set before it. We thank you for each member here, for each leader. We thank you, Lord, for their civic duty, for their loyalty. We thank you, God, that they would have wisdom from above, that they would be able to conduct this meeting in such a way that it would glorify you. We ask, God, that you would be with them individually and collectively. Let there be a spirit of unity, a spirit of fairness. Let this reflect that which would bring forth your will in our community. And this we do pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our flags. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Texas flag. Pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state. Thank you. Okay, first, next item up is going to be reports and a mayor's report. I just want to report that we lost a very dear friend to Duncanville. So good a friend, he was deemed to be Mr. Duncanville, Mr. Steve Martin. As many of you know, he passed away after a long illness. I truly believe that with his pain and suffering he was going through, this is a case where he is blessed that that pain and suffering is over. But what we lost is an institution here in Duncanville that was involved in many things, including his time as the leader of our Chamber of Commerce. And conversations I had with him and many others had during his stay in the hospital, he fought the fight. And I couldn't be more proud to call him a friend. And to many of you up here as well, he was a friend, but most of all, he was just a friend to this community. He gave his all everywhere he could, and he did a lot more than what I was even aware of. When they speak of him at his memorial service, he was an incredible human being, and he's going to be missed. Now I'm going to go over to council member reports. Mr. McBurnett.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll echo the same sentiments regarding Steve Martin. It is a loss, but we also had some other losses of people, Dan Barkley and Steve Sutherland as well, too, people that contributed to this community. But I always like to talk about things that we've had in the community as well as what we've got coming up in the as well. And I want to thank Lauren Sanchez and Kevin Bradley. Last week they had a Best Southwest Emergency Preparation workshop. It was very well attended, good Duncanville. Even though it was in DeSoto, it was a good Duncanville turnout and just very, very well done. Also, we have the Women's History Fireside Chat coming up on Thursday, March 26th. And on March 28th, it's going to be a busy Saturday because it's hazardous household waste, so you can dispose your household waste. It's also the Easter egg extravaganza that's at the park. And also, if it's still holding, if Tyler or Bart can confirm, there's a annual garden workshop with the KDB on that day. And then on the 31st is a bond workshop. But, moving through again, Operation Clean Duncanville happens on April 11th. And there's a ribbon cutting for Harrington Park, and there's also a planned concert in the park, and then movies in the park in April. But and also in May, there's going to be Bloom Fest, which is be the second annual, and it's good. I want to also just quickly touch on our animal control people. Chad Chamberlain and Hazel Green are our animal control officers, and we had a citizen with a recent issue, and his dog needed medical care. They took the dog away for him, but they showed compassion and professionalism, and they brought back a picture of the dog and some hair, and just really made this citizen feel very appreciated. But these guys do an excellent job for us, and I really appreciate what they do for our citizens. And lastly, since it's St. Patrick's Day, my Irish toast is: there are good ships and there are wood ships, the ships that sail the sea, but the best ships are friendships, and may they always be. So, thank you.
Mr. Pennebaker?
Thank you. I also just want to acknowledge Steve Martin's passing. He was a great person. We had a lot of conversations. He could be upset, he could be happy, but the conversations were always fun regardless. He was a heck of a man to have a conversation with. And his legacy will continue in the city various ways. One of those is Duncan Switch. He was at, I believe, almost every Duncan Switch that's gone on for 15 years. And he would sit out there in his tent and welcome and greet people all day long. And it's being moved this year. It's going to be in Armstrong Park. It's this Saturday. There's going to be a new life and a new energy about it, and I hope y'all come out and be part of his legacy, so to speak.
Thank you. Ms. Gooden?
Thank you, Mayor. I too wanted to echo about the moving of, just drew a blank. Thank you, Menopause. Moving to Armstrong Park, Duncan Switch, there it is. Yes. Also, thank you to the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club for choosing Duncanville to host your annual event here. This year was the 63rd year for this National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Club, and I was invited out to spend Friday evening with them, and it was a lovely evening. So thank you, ladies, and thank you, Governor Ollie Gilstrap, for the invitation and allowing me to come and be a part of such a lovely evening. Also, mark your calendars for the 31st of this month. That night, we will have a bond workshop, the City Council, and we will hear from staff about that particular bond that will be coming before the public. So if you have a chance, please try to attend. It is a public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, we'll move on to the city manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mayor Contreras. Just a couple updates. First one is, you might recall that the library department is working on a community needs assessment, and we'd like to encourage our residents, elected officials, staff, to go on the library department's website. The community needs assessment phase is active right now. There's a survey out there that you can take to express any thoughts or ideas that you have regarding operations for the library as well as facilities. There are also a couple of focus groups that are coming up for the public in the month of April. Those are also listed on the website, and so you can go out there and select one of those focus groups and let your voice be heard in the month of April. I'd also like to give a couple staff shout outs. Number one, I'd like to recognize Mr. Joe Scott from our code enforcement department. We started a new program a few weeks back where we have a code officer assigned on Saturdays, and he not only worked on Saturday, but he went out on Sunday. We had a lot of signs out in the public right of way, especially political signs, and he actually collected over 270 signs between Saturday and Sunday just in the public right of way here in Duncanville. So appreciate him helping to keep our community clean and orderly. I'd also like to recognize Miss Brianna Davis. from our Public Works Department. She recently graduated with her Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification, so kudos to her for going through that 6-month-long program, and we appreciate all of her efforts with that. And then lastly, I'd like to recognize Assistant Chief Byrd. He was recently promoted to from lieutenant to assistant chief earlier this month on March 8th, so really like to express our congratulations to him and appreciate all of his efforts with the department. He's been with the department for 8 years, and we look for many more years to come as our assistant chief. And then I guess one more quick update. So I'm kind of a new face here. Our interim city manager, Richard Abernathy, is out this week, so I'm stepping in to his shoes. I'm the assistant city manager for community services here at the city. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to item 5, proclamations and presentations. The first one, 5A, is recognition of Keep Duncanville Beautiful Spring 2026 Curb Appeal.
Evening, Mayor, Council, ACM. Tyler Agee, Assistant Director for Parks and Recreation, and Keep Duncanville Beautiful Staff Liaison. I'm presenting the Spring 2026 Beautification Award winners for Residential Curb Appeal and for the Business Beautification Award. This quarter's winners, representing District 1, we have Fernando Rangel at 1002 Dove Creek Drive. From District 2, we have Anita Felton, 1426 Cardinal Creek Drive. From District 3, we have John and Mary Jashin at 602 Truman Court. From District 4, we have Alicia Young, 1503 Halsey Drive. And District 5, we have Pedro Rodriguez at 1147 Aspen Drive. If any of these homeowners are here in the crowd today, please join me in the front for a brief picture. If not, we will move on. Next up, we have the Spring 2025 Business Beautification Award winner. I'll read the brief proclamation and move on to the winner. Whereas the City of Duncanville is committed to improving the physical quality of the community life, and the Keep Duncanville Beautiful Board was established to promote this commitment, and the mission of the Keep Duncanville Beautiful Board is to empower Duncanville citizens and businesses to take responsibility for enhancing their community environment. And each quarter, the Keep Duncanville Beautiful Board recognizes one commercial property within the city for significant improvements to the exterior portion of the property, landscape improvements, and/or long-term maintenance of the property that exemplifies high-quality standards. And Ferranti Hair Studio, located at 807 South Main Street, has been selected as the Business Beautification Award recipient for the Spring 2026 quarter. Now, therefore, Greg Contreras, Mayor of the City of Duncanville, Texas, do hereby urge all residents to join me in congratulating the Ferranti Hair Studio, located at 807 South Main Street, and commending this business for contributing to the beautification of our city. Unfortunately, they were not able to join us this evening as well, but I will run their proclamation to them tomorrow and present their, I thought they were here, their proclamation and plaque to them as well. So, thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, item 5B, provide the City Council with a presentation on the annual comprehensive financial audit for fiscal year 2025.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Interim Assistant City Manager, good evening. Richard Jackson, Managing Director of Fiscal Services and CFO for this great city of Duncanville. Before I turn the presentation over to Mr. Todd Pruitt from Patillo Brown and Hill, did have some comments for this body. Certainly, as discussed in the meeting session earlier, there is a resolution for consideration to acknowledge the receipt of the completed audit for fiscal year 2025. Certainly, as we discussed when I was before you at this time last year was the first time in several years that the city had completed an audit by the state's deadline of March 30th. And so this year will be the second year in a row for the city of Duncanville that has occurred. Of course, I have the privilege and the pleasure of looking you all in the eyes and celebrating this great achievement. But the reality is that there are so many people who are the true champions, if you will, pun intended, for this great city that helped make today happen, as well as the presentation from Mr. Pruitt. In my hand from last year's fiscal year 2024 audit is the GFOA Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting that we received for that audit. And we are certainly in position to once again apply for that honor this year. And again, I want to recognize for this body and for the community the people who helped make this happen. And the other cool thing is, in honor of Women's History Month, that the names that I'm getting ready to call are all great women here for not only the Fiscal Services Department, but for the entire city. So if you could stand when your name is called to be recognized, because I know they are here. First and foremost, our Assistant Director of Fiscal Services, Ms. Tia Pettis. Also here, our accountants, starting with Ms. Jatoya Land Estelle. And also Ms. Tori Strand. We also have our finance technicians. So Ms. Cynthia McGee Thompson, if you would please stand. And Ms. Yvonne Culberson. So these ladies have, oh, that's coming. That's coming. So these ladies have worked tirelessly in their efforts to get us to this point again of both pride and celebration. I also want to acknowledge our budget administrator, Ms. Jennifer Odie, if she would stand. So in my hand also from the GFOA is the most recent from the budget process for 2024. The city received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. And so I wanted to have that individual shout out for Ms. Odie and all the work that she put in for making that happen. And I actually have a third award, so the Triple Crown, if you will, that the city received. Last year, if you recall, the city was able, for the first time in several years, complete and issue out a popular annual financial report. And so for those that don't know, that's more of the user-friendly report, more graphs, more easy to digest information from our annual financial report. And so not only were we able to submit that, but we also received an award for outstanding achievement with the popular annual financial report. So in addition to Tia and Jennifer, I'd like to shout out Mr. Alex Hamby, if you would stand, sir, our communication and marketing specialist. Those three individuals worked very hard to not only make that happen for last year, but we are in position for that to happen again for fiscal year 25. So again, a lot to celebrate, and definitely want to celebrate these individuals, and definitely under the leadership of Ms. Tia Pettis. So Thank you, ladies, and sir, and gentlemen, for all of your hard work in making today happen. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Todd Pruitt.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the city for giving us the opportunity to perform the audit this year. And I'd also like to thank the audit committee for meeting with me earlier this month. We went over the results of the audit in detail. They really did an excellent job of asking a lot of good questions and going over the audit in a lot of detail. And I'd also like to give special thanks to the city staff, Richard and Tia, and all of the city staff that assisted us during the course of the audit. As you could tell by looking at your annual comprehensive financial report, there's over 100 pages of information in that report. There's a lot of work that goes into preparing that report and undergoing an audit at the same time. And their preparation for the audit was really evident in, as we worked our way through the audit process. We could tell that they did a really good job of preparing for the audit. And we certainly appreciate all of their efforts in that respect. As I mentioned, we've discussed the results of the audit in detail with the audit committee. What I'd like to do tonight is to just briefly go over the audit process. We'll go over the results of the audit. Then we'll go over a few of the required communications that are required to be made from an auditor to a governing body anytime an audit is undergone. And then if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer those. The audit process really starts back in the summer usually. We'll do a week or two of interim work. At that time, we're updating our understanding of your internal controls, seeing if there were any changes made from the previous audit. We're preparing our items request list for the audit. We're really doing anything that we can do to make the field work go smoother once that time hits. Then after year end, when the city closes the books, that's usually in January, it might spill into February. We're doing actually a lot of the nuts and bolts of the audit. That's when we're doing our test of controls, we're doing our substantive tests in certain areas. Then as we work into February, we're working on drafting the report, making sure it meets the requirements for the GFOA award, and then ultimately leading up to meeting with the audit committee in early March. So as a reminder, our audit, we were engaged to perform the city's financial statement audit. And you might also recall that any local government that spends over $1 million of federal grants in a single year triggers what's called a single audit. And the city did hit that threshold this year. So in addition to your financial statement audit, we were also required to perform a compliance audit of your federal grant awards programs. The independent auditor's report you would find on page 1 of the financial section of the city's annual comprehensive financial report. And that's the report that covers the results of our financial statement audit. And what that report basically says is that the preparation of these financial statements is the responsibility of the city. We can assist with the preparation of those financial statements, and we do, but ultimately, the city has to take responsibility for the preparation of those financial statements. We, as your auditors, are responsible for expressing an opinion on the financial statements. I'm happy to report we've issued what's called an unmodified opinion. You'll often hear people refer to it as a clean opinion. It's the highest form of opinion that you can receive. And all it really means to you as a user of these financial statements is that they have been audited by our firm, and they're also, in our opinion, they're free of any material misstatements, and they're also presented fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Now, you will also note in the very last paragraph of that report that our audit was performed in accordance with government auditing standards. And those standards require your auditor to do a number of things that go beyond just generally accepted auditing standards, one of which is to report on your internal controls over the financial reporting process and non-compliance with grants, regulations, and contracts and laws. You would find that report as page 1 of your separately issued single audit report. But basically, the first part of that report talks about internal controls over the financial reporting process. And what we're really talking about there is, in order for us to perform your audit, we first have got to gain an understanding of your controls over the financial reporting process. That's really all of the policies and procedures that you've adopted and put into place that ultimately lead to the preparation of these financial statements. If during that process we identify any deficiencies, either in the way they were designed or the way they're operating that we think are significant, we are required to report them. And I'm happy to report there were no significant control deficiencies that were identified. The second part of that report deals with non-compliance. And here we're talking about non-compliance with contracts, laws, regulations, and grants that we believe if we were to find the non-compliance, it could have a significant impact on your financial statements. And as you can note in that report, there was no non-compliance noted during our compliance audit with respect to those matters. I mentioned earlier that you did exceed the $1 million threshold this year. If you look at the city's single audit report, there's a schedule called the Schedule of Expenditures of Federal Awards. You can see that the city had just over $1.2 million of federal grant awards during the year. The way this part of the audit works, your auditor doesn't test every program that you have every year. They perform a risk assessment and they select certain programs for testing. There's certain rules that we have to comply with. The program that we tested here this year was the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. So with respect to that program, we have to first express an opinion on that as to whether or not we believe that the city did comply with the requirements of that program, and then also report on your internal controls. And here again, we've issued an unmodified opinion, which all that really means is that in our opinion, the city did comply with the requirements of this program, and there were also no significant control deficiencies identified. Here we're not talking about internal controls over the financial reporting process. We're talking about internal controls over making sure that you complied with the requirements of that grant program. Additionally, there were no findings or question costs or anything of that nature that were reported as a result of our federal grant awards portion of the audit. So to summarize, from a results of the audit standpoint, you really have exactly what you're hoping for as a governing body. You've got a clean opinion on your financial statements. There were no significant deficiencies identified either with respect to the financial reporting process or with respect to complying with your major grant program. And additionally, there were no instances of non-compliance either with laws, contracts, grants, and awards that have to be reported under government auditing standards or the Federal Single Audit Act. Lastly, there's just a few required communications that I'd like to briefly touch on. Most of these things are things that we've already talked about. There weren't any unusual transactions that we noticed during the year. There was, however, one new accounting standard that had to be implemented this year that changed the way that you're required to account for compensated absences. That standard was implemented without any issues. And lastly, I would like to point out the very last one here, that there were no material audit adjustments, and that's not usually the case with us. I work exclusively on audits of local governments, and we usually do make some audit adjustments along the way. So anytime that we don't get that, I like to point that out to the city staff that we actually didn't have any material audit adjustments that had to be recorded in order to complete your financial statements. So I congratulate the city on the clean results of the audit, and if anybody has any questions about the audit or the financial statements, I'd be happy to answer those.
No lights. Apparently you get a clean bill of health. thank you so much. It was a pleasure listening to your report with the audit committee, which Don McBurnett chairs, and I think Ms. Gooden was there as well. And it's neat to see what's underneath it all. I retained about 10% of what you said, but I did not forget that group out there that you acknowledged earlier and the hard work they put in to make this happen. And again, I'd like to acknowledge all of you for all your hard work and how proud we are for you, and Richard, for you too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to, yeah. I was waiting. Okay, now we go on to item 5C. Ready to go is Miss Angela Thorpe Harris for the Arts Commission Annual Report.
Good evening. Angela Thorpe Harris, Chair of the Duncanville Arts Commission, and I'm going to take you through what we've done since the former commissioner chair did it in March of last year. So this is from March of last year to March of this year. Okay. The Arts Commission presents, so these are some of the events that we dealt with during the year. The Juneteenth, we did a week-long program last year at the library. We had literary cafe where we had some writers come in and talk about their books and give them an opportunity to speak with people and so forth. We had spoken word, drumming and storytelling, dancing, culinary arts with the artist Q&A, which helped us in making some changes later to our policy as we talked to the artists. We did a business mixer called Jazz Note at Shayla's Bistro and Music Lovers Learning Center. Those are the two businesses that we participated with in order to showcase their businesses. And it was a very nicely well attended. We also did Hispanic Heritage Month, and the businesses that we worked with there was Los Jeffy's Mexican Food Street on Main Street. And actually, I wanted to say the Duncanville Theater helped us with a lot of that particular event. One of our board members did put together an arts tour, and we had an opportunity to visit with some of the artists that I was not aware of that lived here in the Duncanville area. And we have a lot, but we were able to visit with Terry Hayes and Kathy Robinson Hayes and Vincent Jackson at the Hayes residence, and beautiful art. We're hoping to showcase it one day. And the Duncanville bookstore, right off of Camp Wisdom. And we had lunch at Shayla's Bistro, and we had additional artists come in, and they were able to interact with the patrons and with each other and showcase some of their beautiful art. We worked on the grant policy. We created that last year, and we also did some revisions. The Arts Commission, I don't know if you've seen these yet, but one of the things, since we're at a lot of these events and so forth, created a little photo book with information about things we've been doing. And then Alex, at our request, created a wonderful business card that people can take the QR code, and it tells them where they can learn more about what's going on at Duncanville, the Arts Commission. They can apply for the grant, and they can also apply to serve on the board. So that was a nice thing that we can give out, because we would tell them about it and would direct them to the city website, but this makes it also easy for them. So those are some of the things that we're doing. We are launching a podcast. Matter of fact, we worked with Francisco and Alex this past Thursday called Deville Voices, that you'll be hearing about that. And we are in the process of creating a Duncanville Poet Laureate position. It's not moving. think the battery went out. Oh. And those, okay, and those are just some of the, okay, so those are just some of the shows. Like, we normally have table and we'll set up. We have trinkets and things that we tend to give to the kids. If we're not asked to do a art project, then, you know, just things for information table, then we just came up with some ideas. But a lot of times when we're doing some of these, we have, we're asked to come up with a art activity for the children, and we do that. One of the things that I wanted to talk about were city events that we participated in. We participated in Bloomfest last year, painting at Duncanville Library, movies in the park a million miles away. At that one, the kids were able to paint moon rocks, and we gave them moon pies in terms of working with, being in correlation with the film. We participated in the Hispanic Heritage Festival. We participated in National Night Out, Boo Bash, and Holiday Lights in the Park. And so that's just one of the pictures when we were at the library. We do a lot of, we're asked to do a lot of things, but we collaborate with Duncanville ISD. Ms. Serrano, she's the family and community engagement person with Duncanville ISD, and she's always reaching out, asking us to participate when they have events at the various schools. We participated in the Fall Family Trunk or Treat Family Literacy Festival at Alexander Elementary. We also participated with Pace High School Career Day Expo, and one of our commissioners participated last week at a career day at one of the elementary schools. So when we're requested, we do try to accommodate. We've started giving out grants, and one of the things that we do try to do is, if they let us know, we attend our grant recipients' events, and often many of you all do too. Some of the ones that we attended was Rhythm of the Heartbeat Dance Experience, and that was in Armstrong Park Cultural District. We had live jazz with Second Sunday Jammers at the D.L. Hawkins Senior Center. There was Christmas with Master's Voice at First Christian Church, Main Street. That was standing room only and a really nice event. And then stage play, Fixing His Plate. They did that at the Duncanville Fieldhouse, and about 450 people attended that particular play. So that was very well done. So overall, we've had 3 grant cycles. We just started our 4th one. We gave out 15 grants in 2025 in the 4th quarter, 9 grants in 2026, the first part, and 13 in this past quarter. So altogether, we have given out 37 grants received since inception. We've given out $252,492, which was requested, and we actually granted only $94,285. So we've been busy. We have some possible future activities that are in the holding box. We have been approached by the community engagement, and we're collaborating with them with the town hall, and they are working with us with Bloomfest. So so that's 2 of your boards working together. We're also collaborating with economic development, a business networking event coming up in the next couple of months. We are planning on doing something. There's some talks with the Hispanic Coalition of North Texas. They have a radio station here in Duncanville, 95.5 FM. And actually, they were a grant recipient, and they're going to be having an event, art-related, at their location. We did a tour with the Olden Year, the Ford Museum, and working with city reps and the Arts Foundation and Mr. Anderson regarding this particular museum, which is it's a beautiful museum. And we've been approached about a water drain art project. And if we do work with that, it will be with Ms. Patricia Ebert and the Public Works Department. So there's some collaboration there. There's also been some initial talk about a student mural contest, and that's with Keep Duncanville Beautiful. So I would like to thank the City Council for all their support. They have given the commission since its inception. We're 3 years old. Its recommendations, suggestions, tours, words of encouragement are greatly appreciated. A special thanks to our council liaison, Mayor Pro Tem DeMonica Gooden, for her insight, guidance, and support. I'd like to thank the City of Duncanville staff, who are always ready to provide assistance for anything we do, from the city manager and assistant manager to the city staff. But I would especially like to acknowledge Noel Garcia, Baron Brassfield, Devin Hanley, Francisco Ramos, and lastly, thank you for all the the hardest working man that I know here with the city, Mr. Alex Hamby, who is our liaison. He's a wonderful man. He's like Wonder Man to me, and he makes us look good. So thank you. Any questions?
That's a good presentation.
Thank you.
I'd like you to go back to slide, I think, 51.
Okay, 51.
There it is.
Okay. You like that one?
Yeah, I do. I just want to let you know, I encourage everybody to go to these events. And as you see, if you go, sometimes you are
Asked to
participate
Mm-hmm.
or volunteered to participate.
Yes.
And I normally don't have that kind of demonstrative action in public, but you got to go along with what they're doing. And it was a lot of fun, and my wife laughed at me because she knows I don't generally do that out in public, but it was fun. I'd do it again.
Well, thank you.
Next time you do
Appreciate it.
But that was an excellent program right there. Any other comments, council, questions? Yes, Ms. Gooden.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say what an excellent job the Arts Commission, what they're always doing out in the community, supporting the community. Any event that this community may have, even when it extends beyond the Arts Commission, you will always see Miss Angela Thorpe Harris out there attending and supporting as much as possible. Ever since they've been given the 15% of HOT funds, they found a way to support and grow the arts here in our city. And so just excellent job, always working hard, always being a part of the community. Thank you for all that you do, and everybody on the commission. You work so hard and you find a way to come together and get the job done. So you set the bar very high for everyone else. So thank you.
Thank you. I do want to mention, I forgot, that we do have one of our grant recipients is giving a performance at the Kingsman Coffee House this coming Saturday called Words of a Sister at 7 p.m. It's at the Kingsman Coffee House. So
Thank you.
she's one of our grant recipients. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that moves us into our citizen input session. In-person citizen comments will be heard during the regular session in keeping with the City Council's rules of procedure adopted on June 4th, 2024. Electronic comments will no longer be read aloud. We did receive one, and council members do have a copy of that. Paper copies will be provided to the City Council at the dais. And I just want to remind you that as you approach the dais, we do have quite a number of you tonight. Give your name and address before you start speaking, and you do have 2 minutes to make your comments. So with that, Marlis Gordon.
Marlis Gordon, 1751 Crescent Lane, Duncanville. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Assistant City Manager, I've come tonight because I want to express a heart of gratitude in our city. 2 weeks ago, I tripped on a parking curb, a bollard, in the dark at night, and fell smashing my face on another ballard. And I want to tell you how lovely our EMTs were to me. They came and took care of me. They were gentle and caring, and I'm very grateful for Duncanville's EMTs. And thank you, Chief Keneally. Last week at the funeral for Steve Martin, many of the city turned out, and we had a very long funeral procession. And our officers of Duncanville were like a finely choreographed dance as they led us through the city to the cemetery, blocking off all the intersections. I thank you to our fine officers of Duncanville. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Stevenson and Mr. Agee. It is always such a beautiful pleasure in Duncanville. It's springtime when the tulip gardens are in. Thank you for the beautiful gardens. And my husband and I walk frequently in Armstrong Park. And we were walking about 3 weeks ago on a late Sunday afternoon, and the wind was blustery, but the sun was shining, and there were many, many families in the park, and there was no trash. Thank you to our Parks Department for our beautiful parks. Thank you.
Thank you. Reese Frosch. Leon Turner.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. Leon Turner, 700 North Clark Road. I'm here on behalf of the Duncanville Fieldhouse. I live in Duncanville. I've been here for 20 years, from 2006 to the present time. I run a men's basketball league up there. I do tournaments. I do basketball leagues, plus open runs up there at the field house. I'm literally there 3 out of the 7 days of the week. The present management there has been amazing. They have indulged me majority of the time that I've been there. You know, I've been at the field house now for, I would say, since 2010 and to the present time. So it would behoove me to step up on their behalf, whether it be the people that work there to the present management. They have done an amazing job, especially for me, in my gripes, complaints, and so on and so forth, and everything that, and they have taken care of me to the utmost ability. I know that we are here for the bottom line, and that's making money and everything like that. But when it comes to me, I've been here so long, I don't want to be pushed out. You know, I feel like I'm a foundation or cornerstone there at the field house, and I don't want to feel like I'm being pushed out. So on my behalf, I ask that you take in consideration the mom and pops that are there at the field house doing their due diligence to make sure that, number one, we make our payments and take care of the stuff that we do on time to make sure that that field house is now paid off because of the consistency of people like myself. Thank you.
You. Tanya Price.
Hello, Mayor and Council. It would be prudent of me to tell you that I'm nervous. I've never been before Council, okay? My address is 2300 Discovery Boulevard, Rockwall, Texas. I'm not a resident of Duncanville. I'm coming before you guys because I do business with Duncanville Fieldhouse. It's important that you guys know that the community is of Duncanville Fieldhouse. The community is not based on business, it's based on family and members, okay? It's important to know I've run business all my life. It's important to know that your business won't thrive without the community. I'm coming on behalf of Craig and the tenants at Duncanville Fieldhouse. I'm not a tenant there, but I run lots of tournaments out of there that supports the Duncanville Fieldhouse. Apart from Duncanville Fieldhouse, I still would survive, but there's tenants there that have paid their rent over years, and they are what makes Duncanville Fieldhouse. I do want to keep the relationship with Duncanville Fieldhouse. Whether they be there or not, I still would stand. But it's important to know that relationships matter to me, and that's the reason why I'm here. And I hope you guys take in consideration the tenants, the members, the residents, the community. Community involvement is what makes up Duncanville Fieldhouse. It's important for you to know that. That's the only reason why I drove an hour and a half to get here in traffic, for you guys to know that. And I thank you for your time.
Carla Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Carla Williams. I stay in Irving, Texas. I have been at the Field House for 14 years.
Your address, please.
My address, y'all want to stop? No, okay, 1158 Hidden Ridge, Irving, Texas,
Thank you.
75038. Been a member and a part-time employee at the Field House for 14 years. It was just quite a shock to see that history repeats itself as far as the third-party management. That's how I got here. The first people, the Bryces, I don't know if anybody's on the committee that remember them, but that's how I got here, and I'm still here. And so I drive, I'm called the weekend girl. I drive every weekend from Irving to serve you guys at the Field House. There has been so many things at the Field House that you guys probably don't know about. Have you heard of an international netball? Has anybody heard about that? Look it up. It was at your Field House. And to piggyback on Ms. Tanya, as far as community, the Field House is a community for all. It's not just a sports place. That's why it's called a Field House. You have your recreation centers. That's where rec things happen. But the actual Field House is where everything happens. A national show was at the Field House. It's called So You Think You Can Dance? I'm sure y'all have heard of that. I took off for my birthday to come to the Field House to see the audition of So You Think You Can Dance. That happened in your city, the community, the City of Champions. So I think y'all need to take a look, a different look, because we done been this before. We did third party before. So just take a look at what you're doing in the RP. Make sure you have all the specs. I'm a financial person. If you need any help, I can help you. But thank you so much for your time. See you later. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Charlotte Stevens.
Good evening, Mayor and council members, and to everyone in the audience that's here on behalf of the Field House. My name is Charlotte Stevens, 3219 Bryan Street, Dallas, Texas. 3.5, almost 4 years ago, I lost my son. Some of you may have seen the news broadcasts and heard about it through the senator's office. He attended the Plano Senior High prom, and we lost him that night. He's been playing basketball at the Duncanville Fieldhouse since the age of 5. I approached Senator West to make some change, and we were able to do that in 7 months. I was told it takes 2 to 4 years to get laws and bills passed. We were able to do it in 8 months. It's SB 650. It's called the Deshaun Jagwin Act. Greg Abbott, our governor, signed it into law June of 2025. It requires that any of us, and every one of us, adults in here, will be scanned for ID when they purchase alcohol. My son was allowed to go into a 7-Eleven on prom night. We've all been to prom. And he purchased a drink, and he never made it home. I approached the Duncanville Fieldhouse because we've been playing there for so many years. And I was met at the door by an amazing man, Craig Mansfield. When I approached him, I said, "Hey, this is my name, and we lost our kid." And he said, "I heard about you. People are talking about it." And our banner hangs in the Duncanville Fieldhouse today. We offer scholarships to minority athletes, but we made change. We made something happen. And I want to tell you a little bit, and I'll make it quick. Mayor, if you'll allow me an additional minute or two. I want to speak on behalf of the Fieldhouse and what it really means. It's a place far more than a building, brick and mortar. It's where our kids learn teamwork and our families gather and where our communities come to life. I understand the interest of outsourcing operations to a third-party management. On paper, it seems efficient, but in reality, it's a decision about the management and the community. It's about the control and the experiences of our youth. My kid played at that field house from the age of 5 to 18. Every single Saturday, every tournament. What matters most is that the structure and the environment and the people in this community have a place to go, have someone that meet them at the door. It doesn't take a fatality, but it's someone that cares, that lives in the community. What I received in the last 10 to 15 years from that field house for my family, and the 10 years that I've known Craig and Chad and so many of the people that are in this audience, is indescribable. There's one thing that you don't want to do, and that's manage the manager. You don't want to lose the integrity of the community and the trust of the people. You always want to maintain that. And so I encourage you all to give that some thought. It's the pillar of this community. It's where everyone goes. There's joy and there's pride in that. There are coaches here. And I implore you to reconsider. I know that there's no final decisions. I'll certainly be back to speak about it. But it's important to keep that pillar there. What we don't want to do is lose the trust of the community by outsourcing, getting someone else in, and then something goes wrong and we've lost the integrity and the trust of our community. We want to maintain that, and I know each of you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Sylvia Robles.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Sylvia Robles, and I am a resident at 754 Fairwood Place. I'm here today representing many of my neighbors to ask for a solution to the ongoing parking challenge on our street. Most homes on Fairwood Place only have 1 or 2 parking spaces, yet many households have multiple vehicles due to working adults and family needs. For many of us, street parking is not optional, it's necessary. During the recent enforcement sweep, several vehicles were ticketed and towed without residents being given realistic alternatives, which I found very unfair. This created frustration and stress for families who are simply trying to manage limited parking. For example, one neighbor has only 1 parking space and there is a fire hydrant directly in front of her home, which further limits where she can legally park. Her vehicle was still towed. Another neighbor was told by one officer that it was acceptable to park in a certain location, but later another officer attempted to tow her vehicle, and she ended up receiving a ticket after trying to follow these instructions. After this began happening, I went door to door speaking with residents, and many neighbors expressed their concerns and support for asking the city to review this issue. The enforcement sweep may have ended, but the parking problem remains, and without solution to this situation, it could happen again. Our neighborhood is not asking for special treatment. We're asking for a fair and practical solution. We do have a solution that we have came up with that we are presenting today. We would like for you guys to review it. If it is not an option, we are definitely open to more options, alternatives to that. Thank you.
George Vega.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for having us here today. I'm here representing neighborhood at Fairwood. My address is 727 Fairwood Place. And the reason for me being here is to propose to relocate the no parking zone signage on Fairwood Place due to the very limited parking spaces at our neighborhood. Over the years, our neighborhood has grown quite significantly, and we propose that the no parking zones be pushed further back to allow more parking spaces in our neighborhood. I've worked with Officer Tatum. He's been helpful. He's passed some information to me in regards where we can legally park or where we cannot legally park, and I passed that along to my neighbors. And so he's been helpful, but at the same time, there is no real solution to the limited space. I did provide a letter to everyone here so that you can maybe take a look at it and see what you think as a possible solution to the limited space. I want to thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Pam McDonald.
Thank y'all for letting me speak. My name is Pam McDonald, 726 Fairwood Place. As of May, I will have lived in my house for 27 years. I am very invested in our street, as are most of our neighbors. We're very friendly. We get together. We help each other out. And it's just been very upsetting what has happened with the parking, people being charged $300, having to lose work. I am aware of why there are no parking signs on our street. It's because years ago at the apartments across Cockrell Hill, sorry, I'm nervous, 18-wheelers were parking every day, every night. And we're on a cul-de-sac, and they were trying to get out, and they couldn't. with the cars parked there. So it was a tremendous problem, and that city put up those signs so that they would not park there. But now they took 4 more parking spaces away last month in the sweep. So we have even less parking, and they are rezoning the field right next to where we live, if y'all would like to drive by and look at it. 8.5 acres. They're proposing 78 multifamily homes that would either come out on Fairwood or Cockrell Hill. We do not have the traffic. We do not have the parking. That's more than there are on our street, which I found out in the last zoning meeting was 25. So we're afraid of what's happening now, and if it doesn't get resolved, what will happen, because it will get so much worse. And I don't want to stay somewhere where our needs aren't listened to. Thank y'all.
Daniel Rico. Daniel. Okay. All right, with that concludes our citizens input portion for this evening. We'll move on to agenda item 7, consent agenda. Mr. McBurnett.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the consent agenda by Councilman McBurnett. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Gooden. Please vote. Thank you. I'll move on to item 8. 8A, there was no action to take as a result of executive session. Move to item 8B, consider approval of a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an advance funding agreement with the Texas Department of Transportation.
Evening again, City Council, Mayor, ACM. Tyler Agee, Assistant Director for Parks and Recreation, presenting on the TxDOT Green Ribbon Project. Just an update of where we are, how we got here, and the AFA on the agenda tonight. So some background about the grant and the acceptance. So in 2025, the city applied for TxDOT's Green Ribbon Grant Program to beautify the I-20 corridor. This project would span from North Cedar Ridge Road to east of Main Street, so right at Duncanville Road. Green Ribbon funds are for landscaping projects and irrigation. Their goal is to beautify and mitigate air pollution along the TxDOT corridors. The project scope includes planting of trees, shrubs, ground cover, and irrigation within the right-of-way. And the total project scope is $484,000, $218. 80% of that funding is coming from federal, and then the other 20% is coming from state. So there are no costs to the city or local government unless cost overruns. Back in December of 2025, council accepted that grant, so we executed the LMA, committing to install and maintain those improvements. Here are just some pictures of the current TxDOT property. So this is pretty much I-20 North Cedar Ridge through Duncanville Road. Here's some of the signage and vegetation out there now. Upkeep has definitely been an issue. A lot of the annual plants and perennial plants haven't made it throughout the seasons. We have some really hard summers, really cold winters. So ideally this grant is supposed to help us improve that, get some new irrigation so that we can maintain things and keep the city corridors looking beautiful. A few of the documents that you've had come through your agenda. I think the first one was our LMA, which is just the TxDOT installs the landscape. It's an agreement between us and the city and TxDOT that they would install the landscaping and irrigation, and then the city would assume maintenance for those things. The city would be responsible for watering, mowing, pruning, and weed control and litter removal of those properties, just like we currently are now. The second one would be the MMA, which is the municipal maintenance agreement. That document was brought before you back in January to receive reimbursement for the TxDOT mows that we pay for each year. It's a percentage of the mows, so it's calculated by what TxDOT would pay one of their contractors, and it just ensures that the city would be compensated for maintaining the I-20 corridor. Since then, we've reduced the amount of mows that will go to I-20, so it will be a net zero contribution. The document that's brought before you tonight is the AFA. It's the funding agreement that defines the total spent projected for the project, where those funding dollars are coming from, and just understanding that the city pays for any overruns on that project. This would authorize TxDOT to let the project and go out for bid, and that's required before they advance to construction. So the next steps, if it's approved tonight, TxDOT would let the project and it would go out for bid to one of their contractors and award it to one of their contractors. The city would work hand in hand with TxDOT to coordinate construction and make sure that we can maintain those properties and the new vegetation and irrigation that's installed. We're looking to do that in summer through fall of 2026. We should be complete by winter of 2026. The project completion and then the current LMA and MMA would just coincide with that project. So we would be reimbursed for any mows and litter pickups that we have and maintaining those areas. Some of the benefits of this project enhances the aesthetics of I-20 and the community gateways. It supports positive air quality improvements and environmental stewardship, demonstrates partnerships with TxDOT and leverages federal and state funding, and then a timely approval process avoids any delays and cost escalations in the construction process. That is all I have. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Questions? Thank you.
No problem.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilman McBurnett, second by Councilman Pennebaker. Please vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So last item 9, I understand there are no staff and board reports. So with that, we will recess at 8:35 to go into executive session. Thank you all for coming this evening.
That's all I was like.
We're agreeing. He's gonna turn it back on.
All right, so we have adjourned our executive session at 9:43. And with that, we've concluded our business for this evening. So the regular session will be no action to be taken as a result of the executive session. So our regular meeting is adjourned at 9:44 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.